Hello everyone, my name is Ahmed Mumtaz and I am here with a very important message for all those students who are looking forward to attempt the AAA exam. Yes, in the AAA exam there are 3 significant changes and you got to understand those 3 significant changes if you want to ace the exam in the coming attempt. Now what are those 3 changes? First of all, the technical marks have been reduced from 96 to 80, which means, in other words, the professional marks have jumped up significantly from 4 professional marks to 20 professional marks. There used to be 4 professional marks, now we have got 20 professional marks, and trust me on that, this is a huge news, and trust me on that, this is a very good news for the students, because I am super sure that this will boost the pass rates of the AAA, which is one of the worst among the ACCA exams. The second major change is about the materiality. Yes, the materiality is all over the place when it comes to AAA exam, but now there are major changes within the calculation, analysis and discussion of materiality, so we need to look into that as well. Number 3rd, and a very important change, is the examiner expects you not only to evaluate the risk, but you should be able to prioritize the risk as well. Now, what do I mean by prioritization? I think it's pretty much basic common sense that you need to highlight the important risk first. So because you will be communicating with your engagement partner, you should highlight the important things first. Okay, I think we need to go into the details of each item, all 3, one by one. So let's start with the most important and the most significant one, having the greatest number of marks, 20 marks. So let's start with the professional marks. Now there are 20 professional marks available, and according to the examiner, according to the ACCA examination team, those 20 professional marks have been divided into 4 categories. The first category is about communication, second is analysis and evaluation, third is the most relevant for the AAA students, which is about skepticism and judgment. Fourth, last but surely not the least, is about the commercial acumen. Okay, let's explore the first one, which is called communication. Now, dear students, you got to note these points because this is something really important. Out of the 20 professional marks I have in my AAA exam, the 4 professional marks are allocated to the first professional skill called communication. So now we are done that out of the 20, the 4 are relevant to communication. Now the next big news is that those 4 professional marks with respect to communication will be available within the section A of the exam. The section A of the exam will have 40 technical marks, 40 technical marks and 10 professional marks, and that gives you question number 1 equals to 50 marks. Now within those 10 professional marks, in the question number 1, 4 marks would be relevant to communication. How we are going to score those 4 marks? Well, it's not a mission impossible. How we are going to go to grab those 4 professional marks? First of all, we will respond in a decent manner. We will be preparing the briefing notes to the engagement partner from the audit manager, proper subject, proper introduction, which you can, how are you going to make the introductory paragraph? You will, use the exam requirements, you will use the proper headings, and this will give you 1 mark. The second mark would be or could be scored by making sure that you use absolutely crystal clear language. The language should be clear. You should not use vague words. You should not use confusing statements. So there has to be a clarity in your answer. Professional wording. Number 3rd professional mark is about the fact that have you answered the specific question which was asked from you? Are you clear in concluding the things? So this is how you could score the 3rd mark, by making sure you do answer the specific question. Your partner might have mentioned something in the question, might have mentioned something in the email. Maybe there was a discussion between the finance director and the engagement partner regarding something. So you need to address that particular thing, and that will give you the 3rd potential mark with respect to communication. The fourth mark is about the fact that your answer has to be effective. And what do I mean by effective? You have to utilize the whole scenario. You have to make sure your answer is tailored according to the situation. So this fourth mark is a relatively challenging one. Otherwise, 3 marks are easier to score. So we are done with 4 marks out of the 20. And remember, all those 4 marks are available within the question number 1, that is section A of the exam. Let's go to the second skill, second professional skill. And the second professional skill is called analysis and evaluation. Now, the analysis and evaluation has got to do with the entire paper. It is not restricted to question 1 only. It could be in the question number 1, it could be in the question 2, it could be in the question 3. And the examiner has not revealed how many marks have been allocated to analysis and evaluation. That depends, that varies from question to question. So 4 professional marks for the communication, but apart from that, there is no breakdown available from the ACCA examination team. So how are we going to get marks in the context of analysis and evaluation? Well, we should always try to calculate the ratios. We should always try to calculate the trends, and we should always, make the use of those calculations. We should relate those calculations with the scenario available. We should utilize the financial data available, and we should come up with some kind of connection of the financial data with the non-financial data. Remember, these calculations alone are not enough. You have to come up with some kind of analysis, some kind of evaluation in order to score these marks. Okay, let's go to the third and one of the most important professional skill when it comes to AAA students. We have to maintain the professional skepticism. We have to have doubt in our mind. We cannot trust the unquestioned honesty. So we have to be critical. We have to be skeptic. Maybe the company wants to raise the finance, so there is a risk. They might want to portray a good picture. They might want to come up with, overstated assets, overstated income. So all those factors will give you, more marks when you are going to apply skepticism and judgment. You have to, have doubts in your mind, and you need to be as skeptic as it could be. Again, the breakdown of professional skepticism and judgment is not available. So let's go to the fourth and the final professional skill, which is called commercial acumen. Now, what about commercial acumen? You need to think like a businessman. You need to think about the overall business situation. You need to be able to think and consider the overall situation of the industry. You need to think about the overall perspective of the company's or the industry's revenue, or the overall company's cost or the industry's cost. So how you will apply commercial acumen within your exam? Well, maybe in the context of accepting a new audit client, and most likely commercial acumen is an aspect which you will be able to discuss or explore, and you will eventually be able to score marks when you will be having a question within the question number 1 about the business risk. So both of those items are more or less, acceptance of a new audit client and the business risk, are highly examinable when it comes to question number 1. But this acceptance of new client could be tested in the context of other audit or assignments, also known as audit related services. So guys, this is it when it comes to the first major change, which has got to do with the 20 professional marks. Let me summarize that for you. 4 professional marks out of the 20 are available for communication, strictly available in the question number 1 only. But other 16 professional marks would be well spread out. No breakdown or no allocation is available. No short statement is available. Now, you don't have to panic about it. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to make sure on a question by question basis, you have to, be a little more careful about it. You need to, use those wordings which are important. You need to make sure your answer is tailored according to the situation. Try to always utilize the financial data. Try to come up with proper wording. And in this way, you will be able to score these 20 professional marks. And this is going to boost your chances of acing this particular exam. Okay guys, I told you earlier or at the start of the video, there are three major changes. We are done with the first. Let's explore the second major change, and the second major change is in the context of materiality. Okay. Now, there are two exam sections, section A and section B. When it comes to section B, if you have to calculate and discuss the materiality, there is no change whatsoever. You have to apply the materiality the way you used to do it in AA or the way we used to do it in the old-fashioned AAA. So there is no change. You will judge and assess the materiality with respect to revenue, assets, profitability, and you will conclude whether the item is material or not. Same old stuff, nothing new at all when it comes to section B. So the change, the real change in AAA in the context of materiality is within the section A of our exam. What about it? What's the change? First of all, when you are going to read the question, your engagement partner will definitely going to send you an email. And within that email, your engagement partner will let you know within the question that you have to assess the materiality on the basis of, let's say, profit before tax. So the revenue and assets would be eliminated. Maybe the engagement partner would say, okay, judge the materiality on the basis of assets only. In that case, profit before tax and revenue would be eliminated. So let's assume the engagement partner comes up with the statement that, yeah, I made the analysis and I am sure that we need to assess the materiality in the context of profit. Okay. Now what about profit? ISA 320 materiality tells you that the threshold in the context of profit is 5% to 10%. Now, within your answer, you have to set and justify the materiality level. You will reveal and you will present that the 5% of the profit is, for example, 500,000 and the 10% of the profit is, for example, 800,000. You will explain you will reveal that 500,000 is 5%, 800,000 is, for example, 10%. Now what? Now you have to apply your judgment and you have to justify your choice. Obviously, you are going to use one, either the 500,000 or the 800,000. If you have got a new audit client, if the risk of material misstatement is on the higher side, if the risk of management bias is on the higher side, if the control system seems to be really poor, I think you should lower down your materiality level to the lower percentage, that is 5%. In my dummy example, it would be 500,000. But if the client is a recurring audit client, there is no major, risk of management bias. Control systems do not have any major issue. I think then you need to raise the bar because your risk of material misstatement seems to be low. So you could have a relatively higher materiality level at 10%, maybe at 800,000 or maybe $750,000. So this is how you have to calculate the materiality and you have to present it in the form of a sentence, and then you have to justify your choice as well. And definitely, whatever your choice would be, you will be applying that throughout the question number 1. So this is the second major change in the context of AAA. One last thing before we move on to the third and the final item. There is 1 mark available for the sake of calculating and justifying your materiality level. And when it comes to the application of that materiality level throughout the question, there are 2 more marks available. So overall, there are 3 marks available in the context of materiality, specifically in the question number 1. 1 mark for the calculation and judgment and the choice of the materiality level. The second and third mark would be in the context of applying that materiality to a particular situation, particular amount, particular situation or accounting standard. Third and the final major change in the AAA, and the third and the final major change is when you are going to answer your questions, when you are going to respond to your engagement partner, specifically in question number 1, but it could be applicable in any other question 2 or 3, but specifically in question number 1, but not restricted to question number 1. you should prioritize the most important risk first. See, it's a practical situation. If I am going to email my engagement partner, being an audit manager, I think I should highlight and I should come up with the most threatening, most significant, most mind-blowing items first. So if, for example, there is a risk, let's say the risk of management bias, so I think I should present that risk at the top of my answer. So when answering the question, you should attempt the most significant risk first. You should identify and highlight, you should justify and highlight why you have chosen it. You should reveal why you consider that particular risk to be the most important one, why you have prioritized it. Last but not the least, when you are going to finish off your question number 1, the case study, you will come up with a conclusion paragraph, and I think within the conclusion paragraph, if there is something which you need to highlight, if there are risk of material misstatements which you need to highlight in the conclusion paragraph, that has to be the one which you prioritize at the start of your answer. So this is an easy technique and an easy way to, it's an easy change within the AAA exam. All those changes are made by ACCA just to make sure that your classroom, your studies, your exam is more aligned towards the real life, more aligned towards the practical life, more aligned towards the industry. I really hope so that you enjoyed this particular video, and I really hope so that you will get the most benefit out of it. There are 3 major changes within the AAA. I hope you will be able to understand and adopt these changes. I wish you all the best, not only for your AAA, but the life beyond it. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon.